Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Ageless Listenings with Brenda Pierce. You've come to the right place for candid conversations, inspiration, and empowerment. Join me with my very special guests as we bring you media that matters on the Divas That Care network. For more about the Divas and to listen to various podcasts, visit www.divasthatcare.com. Now let's get on with the show.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Ageless Listenings Radio with Brenda Pierce. Myself, I'm the empowered nurse. I'm here to triage body, mind, and spirit, and I have a very, very special show for you, a very special guest with Charlene Doak-Gabauer. She has been a guest on my regional TV show a few times, but I want to get her message out into the broader audience because it is so, so important. You know, with digital technology the way it is, everything seems to be seamless and everybody's interconnected. But what are the safety risks? Well, Charlene has been a former educator. She's still educating in her new platform, but as a teacher, and she was also a network supervisor. And she's created her theory of digital supervision based on her experiences in the education system. She is now really stepping into her own as an internationally recognized expert on this platform because she has developed this national charity in Canada called Internet Sense First. She is an author. She is an acclaimed speaker, and she is a voice for reform in the digital world. So with no further ado, here is Charlene. Welcome to the show, Charlene.
Well, thank you for having me, Brenda.
It is really timely because, you know, we've gone back to school in many parts of the world now where we've just opened up the classrooms again for another year, and more new students are getting into the education system and the online world, and the children of today are most vulnerable, aren't they?
Absolutely. I find when I speak, parents are really shocked at what is going on out there, and it's an education that everyone needs to have because our children are the most vulnerable than they've ever been in the history of the world.
Yeah, and it's getting more so every day. I'd love for you to talk about what is going on with children online today.
Well, that's a loaded question. I will say that predators love to be where their prey is, and they have been in malls, school grounds, parks, and so on. But their greatest, their greatest prey is online now. And parents are buying iPads, gaming systems, cell phones for their children. Predators are loving every minute of it. They're putting fish in the Atlantic Ocean for them as far as prey is concerned.
Wow, it's huge. Absolutely huge.
Oh, very huge.
You know, you go online and you see parents soothing their children with phones. So, children get groomed to this technology because parents are letting them have it sooner and sooner and sooner. And they don't realize, like, the predator in the park is someone that people can kind of, see as a physical thing. But these predators online are unseen. And like you say, they're actually like sharks in the ocean, aren't they?
Oh, yes. And I will say, I want to define what grooming is. Some people really don't know. It's the way a predator will bring a child on board to trust them. And a lot of grooming techniques, the first technique is finding things in common. So that if a child is online, let's say, for example, they say they're 10 years old, a predator may say, well, I have a child your age, 10 years old. Isn't that amazing? Which gives them that common ground, and then the child is so naive. They get excited, and they think, oh, this person knows me. They know things about me. They're really nice people. And unfortunately, they know how to find the children they can target. They're very sophisticated predators, and it's not always unknowns. It can be older cousins. It can be older relatives, people that are known and children are taught to trust.
Yeah, and that's a scary thing. It's oftentimes somebody that knows the child and can get the information, and so it really isn't that far out there, is it?
No, and predation is in everyone's backyard now. Unfortunately, these pedophiles, and I call them pedophiles, it's not necessarily just pedophiles. There are heterosexuals doing this for the money.
Wow.
They are trying to entice children to send them nudes, and it is happening every second of every day globally. And then they can sell these nudes to pedophiles. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry, even more than that, I'm sure, because the Internet has helped them find each other and make them feel as though it's okay to do this.
Wow, it's shocking. It's pedophilia and pornography and all these exploitive factors that are out there today are just really heartbreaking and have consequences beyond not only just the child sending the nude photos, but there's luring to actual meetups and other exploitive activities as well, right?
Oh yes. I've written one book, and I'm just finishing my second book, and I give in my book the stages of grooming, so that parents can be a little more in tune to what a predator does. And this is actually a type of science for predators. The stages of grooming are things that parents need to look out for. What is my child doing online? And when you talk about pornography, I am trying to get so that it is not free online. Paying for it is one thing, but it is everywhere, and it is allowed. And I talk to parents that their children addicted to pornography at the ages of 6, 7, and 8, because the neuroplasticity of the brain can have an addiction at any age, and pornography is designed for that addiction. The children are so full of anxiety and depression after they see this. When I speak in schools, I will ask children, how many of you have seen inappropriate pictures? I would say 95% of them have seen them. And then I ask, how many of you have talked to your parents? And most of them will not put their hand up. They do not want to be in trouble with their parents, because parents may villainize their child for seeing it. And I'll give you some statistics.
Yeah, please.
Annually, there are 13,000 adult videos produced. Annually. Hollywood produces about 507. Adult porn annual profit is about $13 billion. Hollywood is $8.8 billion. Over 20% of adults stumble on pornography. Over 80% of children stumble upon pornography. Over 80%. And parents seem to think that their children are on these devices, they're safe, they're out of their hair. As soon as a router and gateway to the Internet is put in a home, parents' responsibility is profound. And too many are not getting that. And I'm not pointing my finger and scolding parents. I'm saying we need to catch up to the digital age. Traditional parenting methods are effective, but we need to get digitized parenting in there as well.
And this is where you come in, because you, as a network facilitator for a school internet system, you understand the workings of the Internet, where, people, like you say, as soon as it comes into your home, and I'll share this story years ago. So this is like 25 years ago. So my oldest was maybe 7 or 8 years old, and he was excited we were getting the Internet, and he wanted to learn yo-yo tricks. So the first thing he said, well, we turned it on and everything else, and of course I don't know anything, and he goes, well, Mom, I want to learn yo-yo tricks. I know that. Let's put it in here and see what happens. yoyotricks.com was what he put in, and not knowing, and maybe he knew, I don't know. But
right.
up came a pornography site right
right.
then and there. That was our very first click on the internet. And
right.
I put that nanny on right away, and and this sort of thing. But the thing is, we can't be with our children 24/7. But
right.
And especially when they are on the internet, we have to really look at how we are providing those services to our children in our home. And this is what you've dedicated your life to this, is creating that safety and the protocol. So
I've developed a theory. Yeah, I've developed a theory of digital supervision, and it's in my first book. My second book is even more comprehensive, and it's the idea that parents must supervise children. It's written in 3 parts. Awareness. Unless you have awareness, you're not going to buy into it. So the awareness is key, and then there is method. How am I going to supervise my child online, on their iPad, their gaming system, their phone? And then the third part is hope. We can do this, and we must, but we can do this. I'll give you an example. I when I was teaching, I would have students come up to me and they say, "I'm a gamer," or they would say, "Oh, my parents are so impressed with everything I know." And I would look at them and think, going to be a long year, because you really do not know much about computers. And they're throwing acronyms around parents that are half the time they don't have a clue what they're saying. And parents feel intimidated. And I have spoken in Iceland, Europe, India, the United States, Canada, and every country I speak in, the parents will say they know more than I do. And as soon as that happens, I say, no, they don't. You need to learn more. Are you going to give the keys to your car so that your child who is 8 can drive around your city? No, you are not. Why are we giving the key to our router to our children so that they can travel around the world and predators are in every corner? We can't do that anymore.
No. It's a shocking situation out there, and I'm so thrilled that you've been able to put your theory together and to get it out there. Like governmental agencies, police agencies, all kinds of different agencies, school boards are really picking up on this whole issue and what you've been able to put forward. So it's time and timely, and it's even needed more so now than ever before. Charlene, I would love for you to share for us how people can get a hold of your book, and your next second to be published book is coming out very, very soon. Tell us about how people can get this information immediately.
Okay, my first book is available online, Amazon chapters, 35,000 distribution channels, and it's called Digital Sexual Victims, True Cases. If people go to my personal website, cdoak-gebauer.com, that's cdoak cdoak-gebauer.com. There is a link to chapters where a person could purchase it. My second book is titled The Internet, Our Children in Charge. It will be available through that website probably by November 5th. I'm just finishing up the manuscript today, actually, and I will be submitting it for printing, and the design of the cover will be done. But I would encourage everyone to read this book. This book, my second book, has interviews with a London, Ontario, Canada City Councillor, Phil Squire, who is a criminal lawyer and defended predators. I have interviews with a child pornography survivor, his wife, a psychotherapist, a police officer, different things that will bring people to a better reality of what is actually going on.
Yeah, I can't urge people, parents, grandparents, educators, strongly enough that you need to get this information. Be educated and be aware of what's going on, and don't take it for granted that they're doing the right thing, the kids, because even if they are wanting to do, be innocent on it, there's enough people out there that are being predators that know exactly what to do and how to do it to get your kids off the beaten path and into something that is way over their head. Charlene, I wonder if you can share an anecdote of one of these situations so people who can be a little bit more enlightened.
Oh, I would love to. I get calls from around the world, and one parent sent me a message with the internet history of her 7-year-old son. It was all XXX porn, and they had just purchased an iPad for the child. And the mother was livid, took the iPad back, and said, "You are not to look at these pictures," which is fine. We have to be careful about villainizing our children because they are victims of the internet. And when I asked her, I said, "How did he get on those sites?" She said, "Well, the kids in the school said, do you want to see some silly pictures? Or no, funny pictures. Do you want to see some funny pictures?" And I sat there and I went, oh, okay. Then I said, a lot of kids exchange these ideas in the playgrounds. But I said, I very gently said, do you really think it was the children in the school? And she said, well, why would you say that? And I said, because children would say, do you want to see some naked pictures? Do you want to see some naked adults having sex? A predator would say, do you want to see some funny pictures? Then I told her, be very careful about how you word it when you ask your child these questions, because you need to know if it is a predator or another child. How did they find out about it? Have they sent nudes? Because sending nudes is so common, it's an epidemic. And sending nudes can be very, very dangerous for the child and the family. Because pictures, when a child is using any device now, there's a geolocator on any device. And the geolocator will actually imprint metadata on a picture, which will give the longitude and latitude of where the picture was taken. That is a very big safety issue. And then if they decide they're going to send it by email, there is a header on the email that will also be a type of locator for anyone who is sophisticated enough to detect the information. And these predators are that sophisticated. So that was just one situation where a parent was totally distraught. I've had parents have called me and said, my daughter was taped by her boyfriend when she was 15. They were having sex. What do I do about it? Well, that boyfriend is producing child pornography. And once he starts sharing it, he is producing and distributing child pornography. And if it's on a device that the parents own, which they do, you have to be 18 to have a cell phone, then the parents are in possession of child pornography. Do you look at the device of your child? Most don't. You need to start.
Wow. Shocking. And this is part of your day, every day, getting information like this from distraught parents. And every one parent and one child is one of millions and millions that this is going on with every day. It's not
right.
A singular situation by any means.
Well, I'll give you an example as a teacher. I would, on parent night, talk to a parent about their child. And this has nothing to do with the porn addiction and so on, but I would tell their child they're a behavior problem in the classroom. And every time the parent would say, oh, that doesn't sound like my child. They never lie to me. I find that statement alarming. I lied to my parents. Brenda, I'm sure you did too. It's the fun of growing up. What can we all did? What can we get off with? And when parents tell me I never lied to my parents, and I'm like, okay, you're lying right now because you did. I'm sure you did. And the parents need to realize that when their children are on these devices, they're not telling them the whole goods. They're not telling them the whole story. Do parents even check the cell phone record of phone calls? Who are their children talking to? This has to start. We're having an international summit to end Internet child exploitation in London, Ontario, Canada on November 9th. And I would strongly encourage anyone to attend. It's open to the public. We have speakers coming from the United States and Canada. We have a speaker from Kansas City talking about child-on-child sexual assaults. They consider in that hospital that this is an epidemic out there. Why? Because children are seeing the Internet, the pornography on the Internet, and they are enacting it. And half the predators they see are between the ages of 11 and 15 because these children are reenacting what they see. And the victims they have are between the ages of 4 and 8. We have a speaker coming from the Ontario Provincial Police Child Sexual Exploitation Unit. It's unheard of that they would speak like this, but they are coming and speaking at this summit. Police officers are coming. They want to be better educated about this because they consider that what I've developed is very progressive, and all of the speakers coming are experts in their field. These are people I've met when I was speaking that say, I will be there, because someone has to start ending what is going on. We have a gaming person, a person that has studied gaming and the effects and what parents need to look out for. We have a woman that is coming talking about pornography. Are we going to prepare our children or repair the damage? We have a person coming from Jersey talking about the liabilities of professionals and parents when children are on these devices. A company in Canada, Nerds on Site, is coming and talking about their new artificial intelligence filter that must be considered interdependent with my theory of digital supervision. It's an amazing conference. I'm really excited because all these people are coming.
Well, I'm excited. I'll be there as well. And, and it is time. The Me Too revolution opened up the whole door of people speaking up about the issues of violence against women. And but this is even bigger. This is even bigger than the Me Too revolution. And
it is.
It
is
huge.
Yeah.
Huge. Well, and the other thing is too, Charlene, is the spinoff. Not only is the predator and the act, and what's happening to these children long term. So, you talk about the dysfunction in children and depression that happens because of this overexposure to pornography as children. But then look at the addictions and, the suicide rates and everything else. I'm sure that this also ties into a lot of that as well.
Of course. When you hear of a suicide, and we're hearing it too commonly now, of kids in high school, I have not done the research on this. I would guarantee it has to do with sharing nudes with someone and it being shared throughout the school. The police have stated that in a school of 1,000, one picture can be circulated within 1 hour through the entire school. So that if a parent or a teenager or a child is listening to this radio interview, realize, do not hit that send button. And parents, let's look at what our children are doing with these devices. Unfortunately, cameras are so easy to get that the children are using them for the wrong reasons. I'll give you another example. Girls are now saying in high school that there's sex before kissing because boys are so addicted to pornography, they have erectile dysfunction. And before they can perform with a girl, they masturbate. And the girls know that.
Wow.
And it's called sex before kissing. If people wanted to Google that, sex before kissing, you would be amazed at what you're going to read.
Gosh. It is absolutely disturbing, Charlene, but very good that we're having this discussion, and I think everybody needs to listen loud and clear to the message about what the digital age is opening up here. And, and really educating, they do sex ed in school, but we need to do digital ed in school and as early as possible.
Well, they're trying. And as an educator, I know that a teacher can be given a curriculum, and they really don't understand that. And kids will pick up on that very quickly. They need experts to go into the schools to talk to the children just straight from the hip. And as an educator, I have been told that I know I never say anything I should not say in the classroom. I was trained. I follow any education act. I'm very, very careful. And to have someone go in that has had experience and researched this, has a profound experience with students. I know this because principals have told me when I speak. And by the way, every school I go into, a principal will whisper and say, we have had children charged with this, charged with producing and distributing child pornography. And I tell them, you don't need to feel lonely. I hear that in every school. It is not advertised.
Wow. Yeah.
So it's just, these are things that I've had someone say to me, be very careful that you don't create too much guilt with people. I'm sorry, people need to feel guilty to start acting.
Yeah.
They need to start realizing, let's do a favor for our children. Let's learn more so that we can protect them.
Absolutely, Charlene. And, this is the thing, is if we don't start now, what is society going to look like later? And I'm scared for that society as it evolves if we don't pull back and claim back our children and their safety right now.
Exactly.
Thank you. Thank you for doing what you do, Charlene. And we need to clone you like a million times in order to get this message out into the classrooms. So
that's right.
The summit is an excellent start. I can't wait to hear the expertise and I encourage everyone. How can they get tickets, Charlene? If they're wanting to come from wherever they are in the world, they need to get there to London, Ontario. Tell us how.
Go to my charity website. It's called Internet Sense First, as in common sense. So it's internetsensefirst.com. You go there, there will be a link to the International Summit to End Internet Child Exploitation, and you can register and buy tickets there. We accept payment on credit card through Eventbrite, and there is a link to Eventbrite directly from the registration page, or we will take an e-transfer. Your email is recorded on an e-transfer or Eventbrite so that everything is documented for your entry into the summit.
That's amazing. And, please, people, if you hear this interview, please share it because it's so important. Charlene, thank you from the bottom of my heart for making this time available and for doing everything that you're doing to ensure the safety of our children.
Thank you, Brenda. We need to work together on this. We all do.
We all do. That's right. Okay, so everyone, remember you are loved and you are loved. You are blessed, and you are a blessing. Bye for now.
You have been listening to Ageless Blessings with Brenda Pierce. The views and opinions have been those of the participants and are not to be taken as medical advice. For more Ageless Blessings, visit www.facebook.com/agelessblessings. Until next time, have a wonderful body, mind, and spirit-filled week.